an accident waiting to happen.
Okay.
You don't think they've done any research or?
They've done
it's-
tons of research. They have an agenda and a goal in mind.
No, it's
But they
not.
didn't share
But
any of
it's
the
only
research?
when the
No.
grass level on YouTube.
Yeah. So my goal is when we go in, the election's in fairly and squarely, the votes are done properly, and everybody entitled to. Who's gonna be making copies of it? You got it. CL,
Yes, present.
Tom,
Yes.
Seth,
Yes.
Ray, present. Okay, we do have 4 members, so we have a quorum. So we have a meeting. Okay, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the agenda has been approved.
Okay.
Okay, citizens to address the board. There are no citizens present to adjust the board. Discussion items, I would make a motion that we move discussion item number 1, approval of the minutes, to the end of the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye. None. We haven't heard from the city attorney. The stuff has been sent to her. And again, we're coming up on the time that it's going to be difficult to get things done. We'll table that until next week, and we follow things in. Discussion item, City Charter 2.07. Sean and I were working on that. I went through all of the city charters that we were given copies of for the home rule. Our judge of qualification 2.07 and 2.08 are word for word Rio Rancho. Direct copy. I don't know who copied who, but they're word for word. Everything else, now there is one other that's basically the governing body does it. All the others, the qualifications are to be a registered voter, to live in the district that you're running for. You know, if you're in District 1, you have to live in District 1. The mayor at large or at-large councilman would have to live in that area. Now, 2 of the other entities added a caveat. They have to live in the area for 90 days before they run for election. So if you're going to be in District 1, you would have to live in District 1 for 90 days.
Before the election, not before
Yes.
they run for election.
Yes. Yes.
I'm wondering, is that an older idea according to previous election rules?
I don't know,
Because now, you can go in and register, you know, as long as it's before the election, you can go in and register the day before.
Okay, but this is not voting, this is running for office.
Right,
Right, let's say
right.
I'm
But
running-
I'm wondering if it's not, you know, influenced by that. That's why we have a 90-day thing.
I don't know how long this has been in those. I like the idea, because if I'm gonna represent District 1 or District A, then I should know District A, which means I would need to live there.
Or at least make an attempt to get to know them.
Exactly. But, I mean, you need to be,
Well, yeah, I mean, to
Part
run
of
for
the
office,
community.
you can't run for office until, you announce your candidacy. I mean, you know,
you must have did this with
Okay.
old people, didn't you?
Whoa, she did. Nice and big and bold.
They
Woo.
were typed like that. Thank you.
I love it. I love it.
hey, look, I wasn't messing around with my computer anymore. I was
Oh,
having a
Fran
hard
will
time.
understand in 20, 30 years.
But anyway, Sean and I will continue that, but basically, yeah, I really don't like the way the ours are worded now. The governing body shall be the judge of qualifications. The
But
only
that's
thing,
the way Rio has it
and
too.
Rio Rancho is word for word, section 207 and 208. I like the idea of stipulating that they have to be, number 1, registered voters,
Okay,
and number 2, they have to reside within the area, the district, or say in the case of an at-large, like the mayor, in the community, the city, village, whatever it's called. I really like the idea of 90 days. They have to reside there for 90 days before they file for candidacy.
oh, okay.
Now, again, is it before they file for candidacy
Before
or
they
is it before
file.
the election?
Well, I would
There's a
word
big
it-
distinction.
Yeah, I would word it before they file.
Okay. So
I
they
don't have
could,
a- I don't have a problem with it.
No.
so they could be 6 months before the election, maybe.
Yeah,
Depends on what the filing deadline is.
yeah.
I would say before they file for, for candidacy, they should reside at least 90 days within, the district or the community, or the city, or that would have to be written up.
I think that's very
style.
minor, those.
And what I can do is, you know, I can type up something like that and we can look at it at our next meeting.
Okay.
To me, that would add some qualifications there. And the rest of them, basically what it was is either you had to be a registered voter, you had to reside. If you left your residency within that district or city, that was considered a resignation from your position. Now, I did say, some of them did say primary residence, because you can own houses in 3 different districts.
Mhm.
And, you know, and declare whichever one you want is your primary residence. But it did say primary residence, and you have to define that.
So you're eliminating the idea that the governing board shall be the judge of the qualifications. You're
Yes,
specifying specific qualifications
Yes.
to have.
The onus is on the candidate,
Okay.
citizen.
Again, are you throwing in an age requirement, or?
no, no. Nothing like that's in there. There's no age requirement, there's no, I personally would like to see put in there, you cannot be a convicted felon and run for public office.
Well, you are technically putting an age requirement because you're saying they must be a registered voter, but you have to be
Right,
18.
well, yes, that would refer back to the state law.
Actually, you can register to vote before you're 18.
But you,
Can't vote until you're 18, but you
18,
can register
right.
to vote before you're 18.
Right. Yeah, you're
Right,
right,
just-
yeah, you're right on that, because we ran into that one before in the election board.
yeah.
But again, so again, you know, so you're allowing 18-year-olds to,
Sure.
Why not?
just asking,
Yeah.
Why not?
just throwing it in there, that's all.
Because in today's climate, you could not put an age requirement in there.
Yeah.
Right or
So
wrong.
you still have an issue with the term the governing body?
Yeah, they're not
So
gonna,
who would be,
When you file for candidacy, and I'm not sure on this, but I think it's the city clerk who verifies the information is correct. Your name, your address, this is where you live, your phone number. They had an issue a few elections ago. A guy was known by Joe, and his name was Joseph. Well, he registered as Joe, but Joe wasn't his legal name, so he couldn't be a candidate. So it would be up to whoever verifies that information, you know, is this person residing in this district, has this person been here for 90 days? And you would probably check with utilities and, you know, things like that. That would be a minute, and I don't know if legally we could put the 90 days in there, although some of them do have it.
well, that's more under qualifications.
Yes, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking, the qualifications.
yeah. I'm wondering.
Yeah,
Well, if there is a dispute about any of that, who would be, wouldn't it be the governing body that would settle the
now,
dispute?
I would assume that would be the state election board.
Okay, you would think it, well then,
Because once you start dealing with the elections, you bring in the state in. Now, I don't know that for sure, that might be a question, but I'm assuming if I file, I'm gonna run for councilman in District A, okay? And then I fill out all the paperwork, I turn it in, the clerk or whoever goes through it verifies, oh, wait a minute, your address says you live in District B. Then that clerk, I would assume, would say you could throw that out. Or she would refer to the Secretary of State, the Board of Elections. Now, and I don't know what's gonna happen with that when Grants opts into the state election system, which they've already voted to do, but won't do for the basically 2 years. Then you would file with the paperwork the clerk gives to the county, you know, Ray's filing, you know, he's running. I don't know if the clerk verifies it or the county. But again, that would be under state jurisdiction.
So is that what you're talking about when you mean the governing body?
No, the
No.
governing body will be eliminated.
Oh,
Yeah.
In order to run for councilman or mayor, you would need to be. a,
okay, okay.
Registered
I like
voter.
that.
In the, you know, city or whatever term that you live in, you would have to be a resident
Yeah,
of
yeah, I
90
got it,
days
yeah.
prior to filing for candidacy. And that's pretty well, once you have that in here, then the governing body can come up and say, well, you've been here for 2 weeks, you're good. You can't do that then. Now, I don't know if the 90-day would pass or not, but I'd like to.
I think this is interesting. Today I visited someone who lives here with his mother, but his family has moved to Rio Rancho. And he said, I've been getting a lot of questions about whether or not I can retain my job on the school board until
Yes.
my term runs out. He said, people are jumping ahead and they're thinking because my family lives in Rio, I'm not allowed to serve, but he said, I live here and the primary caregiver of his mother.
And to me, that's a question should be asked.
Yeah,
I mean, why would I want somebody on the school board in Cibola County that lives in Rio Rancho?
exactly.
And you could run it, a voting. You know,
Now,
we have
would
people
this
that live-
extend to say that someone passes away and they're an elected official, and whoever the authority is appoints a replacement? Would that replacement have to be,
Fulfilling
Yes.
those
Fulfilling
qualifications.
the same
Replacement would have to meet-
qualification.
Would have to meet the qualifications.
so we would have to state that in this section, would we?
No, basically just sit there and say they have to be a registered voter, live in a district. So if somebody passes away and you want to select somebody to replace them, those qualifications still hold.
Still.
Yes, they still
They
hold,
still
they have
hold.
to state
They
that
would,
because it's
they would
clear.
still have to hold that,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
These are the qualifications for being a quote councilman or whatever,
Because I was
Now,
thinking,
you were in the midst of saying something, and you didn't.
We've run into some situations where people who vote in Cibola County live in South Africa and South America
Mhm.
and Europe,
Mhm.
but they still own property here and this is,
Mhm.
they consider this their residence. So, but, I don't want, that's why you have to,
Have it down, huh?
you're always gonna have stuff that comes up.
yeah.
Yeah, and you can't do it, to keep it simple, okay,
Humans are-
this is the one from, this is Gala. The mayor, councilors, and municipal judge shall be legal residents of the state, qualified electors therein, the qualifications, and it goes on. They have to be legal residents of the state, qualified electors. So you have to live in New Mexico, and in order to vote in grants, you have to live in grants. That's already set somewhere else.
Mhm.
That's a little bit different than some of the others. This one, only qualified voters and residents of a respective district shall be eligible to hold the office.
I'm so glad you did this. I never even thought of that.
Eligibility, registered voters who shall reside in the district shall be eligible to run for office on council from that district. It doesn't say registered voters, so that one to me is a little bit, that doesn't, I like the 90-day thing because that says you have to live in the community.
Unlike Herschel Walker.
Who?
Herschel Walker in the Georgia fiasco. He was living in Alabama and running for senator in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, okay.
Yeah.
In many cases, it's not required that you, as a matter of fact, for legislators in Washington DC, you do not have to live in your district. You just have to live in the state, someplace in the state.
Yeah.
That's all. You don't have to live in your district. So,
Okay, what I will do is I will type up something along that lines and have it ready for next meeting. We can review it.
Okay.
If we all kind of agree on it, we'll send it like we did with the other, on to the lawyer and say, okay, well, this passed muster on this.
Okay.
I'm making myself a note here.
No,
But these are so elementary that I don't see any problem with them. Do you, Tom?
the only issue I have is that 90-day, as to 90-day before you,
But as long as that would be clarified.
90 days before the election, yes, but 90 days before you
File.
file,
Yeah.
that's,
I would,
that's all, that's all.
yeah, I like that because if I just moved here, say 2 weeks ago, and the filing deadline is next week, and I decide to run, I haven't been here long enough to know.
Exactly. Some people.
Yeah, but if the filing deadline is 90 days before the
Yes. yes.
election,
Right.
then that takes care of that.
So when you write this down, you will add that?
Yes, I will add that, and if we want to take it out, we'll take it out.
That's okay.
I just,
Just a concern on my part, that's all.
yeah, right, and the
It
lawyer may
leads to
say, no, we
clarity.
can't do that.
And again, because then you're gonna have some variations.
Yes.
between when the person claims to, you know,
Yeah.
decides to run. If you just have the set date of the election, 90 days before the election, that's all cut and dry. There's no debate.
And that might be an option, that might be
Yeah,
an option.
there's no debate, there's no
Yeah.
conflict or anything.
Right. I noticed like you know, one of the other boards I'm on, the senior citizens, I wanted to put in there, you had to be 60 years old as senior citizens to serve. I can't do that.
To serve
On the
on-
advisory council,
on the-
I can't do that.
That's age discrimination.
And it has to be open, and like I was told today, we were talking about that. Well, if we have a family member, you know, say Grandpa Joe comes out here and eats lunch every day, and his grandson wants to be on the advisory council because he knows what Grandpa Joe wants to do. We can't discriminate him because he's not 60. So, anyway, so I will write something like that up and have it for the next meeting.
But they can discriminate by saying you have to be how old to?
That's
be-
federal government, that's federal mandate.
Oh,
They have no control over that.
oh,
It's like the Meals on Wheels. The only way you get Meals on Wheels is you cannot have transportation of your own.
okay.
So a friend of mine wanted to get Meals on Wheels, but he has a car and he can drive. So he doesn't qualify. So, I mean, it's, anyway, I'll write that up. B, C, and D, I don't know that we need to make, you know, really changes. The governing body shall have the power to set by ordinance additional standards, ethical standards, things like that, as it deems appropriate. And they can add things, you know, if you move out of your district, you lose your office. You know, there again, I do deal with if the family move and I'm staying here in the house long enough to take care of mom. All right, do they still live here or
Just out of curiosity, have they established any ordinances in that area?
do what?
Well, in B, it says the governing body shall have the power to set by ordinance additional standards of conduct. Have they done anything like that? I'm just curious.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Now, they did those code of ethics things that we had looked at a couple of meetings ago. The conflict of interest things is already in there. I don't know how we could sit here and make rules like that a part of the charter. Times change. I think it's a little open. The governing body shall have power to subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, and require production of evidence. And there again, that's in a lot of them too, and like I said, that's word for word Rio Rancho. Section 207 and 208 is word for word. So somebody copied one of them.
I think that might be more common than you think.
Yeah, oh, it is. You start reading through these things and you see a lot of similarities, which I guess is a good thing because you keep everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent. Now, each community is a little different. And then, of course, D, I read back through chapter 10 of the Municipal Code of New Mexico. I have a hard time wrapping my head around some of the wording. I'm reading through this and I'm looking for a specific word or specific principle. It's in there, but I have no idea where. You know, because about half the stuff in there refers to something else,
Yeah.
which refers to something else, which refers to something else.
That sounds deliberate.
It very possibly is, but I don't know. But if we make a change here, then you've got to refer back to 14 changes somewhere. You know, because you can't, and then any change we make here, if it conflicts state law 14 times down the road.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that, Tom?
No?
And give it to the lawyer.
I'm just glad you're getting away from the governing body making a determination.
Yeah. And I think that to me that's key. So we have a clear disqualification. I'll get that wrote up and then we'll see how that looks. I think once we get that in place, I don't see what changes we will make in anything else. we had talked about making some changes about, you know, how they announce the meetings. It's got newspapers, we want to change that to media outlets of general circulation.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing we did earlier.
Yeah, and I don't know how you can't say newspapers, you can't say radio, or you
Yeah.
can't say TV, or you can't,
Well, they all fall under media.
exactly.
Right.
Published in one or more media outlets of general circulation in the city.
Mm.
And that would include Facebook, or whatever the new one is now. Or the old one that was new last
I
week.
wonder if gossip falls.
That's a media outlet now.
Curious.
Okay, so, any more discussions on item number 3?
No, if you're gonna type it up, then we'll look at it, we'll,
Yeah.
you know, see it, and then we can decide at that time to turn it over to the lawyer. if
Right,
we need to.
or make some changes, and what what I'll do is I'll make it with a couple of blanks in it that we can change,
Yeah.
and then I
Good
can just
idea.
may change whatever and get it to Fran and get it sent off the next day or so.
Or-
I thought about bringing my laptop in here, but then I would have to connect to the printer, and that might be an issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
All right, so we'll move on with that. Number 208, investigations.
We did
Again-
not get any feedback yet from the lawyer, so.
Right,
So,
so we will have to table that till we hear back.
well, should we call her, or can you call her at your convenience and,
Okay,
Yeah.
it's probably a little bit late to call
Yeah.
today, but,
and ask her, can she give us some feedback on
Either in writing or at the next meeting.
it? Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I'll get in contact with her on that
All right.
one. Okay. Discussion item number 5. We haven't seen anything else as far as department's charter input.
Well, we're gonna drop that now, aren't we? Because we had given them a sufficient amount of time to,
Yeah.
so we'll just drop that from the agenda for next,
We'll just drop
I think
that.
that's-
next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then if somebody does want to come in, they can do that under the citizens addressing the board.
yeah, either that or under comments. so.
Yeah.
Discussion item number 1, we have a copy of the minutes.
Now, I was trying to organize, and so the roll call, and the time that we started may be
A few minutes off.
a few minutes off, and I'm not sure who, let's see, not the roll call. Motion to approve the agenda, that was the first one, I think. Yeah,
Right.
that was the first motion, so I'm not sure whether CL or Thomas first or second it. and-
Okay, we didn't have any minutes last time, did we? Yes, we did. There it is, I got you, I see it now, at the bottom of the
Okay.
page.
Yeah,
I got it used to the big print.
I love this.
well, you know,
I'm
I
gonna
wasn't,
suggest it to Sean.
you know, I wasn't, never mind, I won't get into it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I will second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Comments? I think one thing we're gonna have to work on, I know traditionally, a lot of committees and meetings like this, the council meetings during the holidays. I really think we need to try to stay on track as much as possible. And I know
So
trips
the
out of
next
town.
date,
And, you know, the next day is December the 14th. I know trips out of town, weather and things like that may play into it, but we've already had to get, you know, the 6-month extension. I really think we need to push it as much as we can through the holidays.
Okay.
what day of the week is the 14th?
And it should be on the Thursday, right?
Thursday?
They all should be on the
Just
same
checking.
day.
Just checking. Good.
Well, this is the third, wouldn't it be on the 13th?
That's what I was thinking.
Like mathematical.
Anybody have a
Uh,
thought?
What month are we talking about? December?
December.
December the 14th is on a Thursday.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because it's the 30th now. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Tomorrow's the 1st.
That's
Yep.
right.
0 plus 14 is 14.
And then
right?
if we want to keep it on track, the one after that will be on the 28th,
Right.
if that's appropriate for everybody.
I have no
Chris-
problems with that.
Are you going to be out of state?
No, I'm not going to Georgia this year.
I was just, throwing that out,
Yeah, no,
looking
it
a
just,
little bit ahead of time.
yeah, and we need to do that, but at the same time, and I understand, there's gonna be times, that's just,
That's inevitable.
in January, I have my eye surgery on the 18th and 19th. So I may miss one there. But I really think we need to work at
Consistency.
pushing as much as we can to get these little things worked out. I'll try to get something like this written up. I'll try to get Tom to take a look at it and see what he thinks. And then at our next meeting, I'll try to have to the point where we can get it, turned in and get some kind of word on it. And then get out of these two sections and then move on down the road. I'd really like to, get this one knocked out.
You might even want to submit that 207 to the attorney even before, and just say we haven't voted on it, but just get some prior
Waiting for
input
you.
from the attorney on that, instead of waiting till,
Okay,
Then-
I'll see what you're saying, yeah.
and then we could, possibly
That
vote
would,
on it.
yeah, smooth it.
Get that all squared away before the next meeting at 207 and 208.
Okay. I will try to get that done up in the next couple of days, and I'll run it by Fran first.
Okay.
Because she will be the first to, say, hey, yay, nay, whatever.
Mhm.
We just had another one of these that we had turned in, and while it was going from the city clerk to the lawyer, they found some documentation from 1982 that affected it.
Mm.
So we had to back up and punt today, earlier. So, yeah, I'll get it to Fran first, and then whatever they may throw the 90-day thing out, and they may, like you say, 90 days before election. I personally would like 90 days before filing, but that may not be.
We can slip it in there. Maybe they
Yeah, we'll
won't
see.
notice.
We'll see.
Yeah, either way, I just feel like if you're gonna run for public office in the community, you need to be a part of the community. 90 days won't.
Just out of curiosity, what is the deadline for filing before the elections?
I really don't remember. I remember Ralph saying I had it for, in September, I thought, no? Yeah, it was September before this last election.
Yeah, well, the primaries for the November elections are in June.
The primaries, but.
Yes, but you have to file, I'm thinking 2 weeks before the primaries. Now, with the city election, which is nonpartisan, they don't do primaries, do they?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, there was no primaries.
I can ask Ralph.
All I'm just saying is that
No,
this
I'm not-
Yeah.
I'm not-
extends the
Why
period
don't
of
you
time.
check
that's
on
all.
that and find out, because that
Okay.
might, because if you have to, like with a partisan election, the primaries in June, if you have to be filed, it's more than 2 weeks. Because we had an incident several years ago of a county employee that worked in the election board. It was 2 weeks, decided 2 weeks before the election, they were gonna run for office.
Whoa.
And they were a big part of the election board. Of course, that means they can no longer be a part
Mm.
of the election board.
Hmm.
Okay, any other comments? Next meeting, December the 14th, 3 p.m. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to move that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, I'll second it. I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Adjourned at 3:45. So we start at 3:15, turn at 3:45.
Okay.
And like Sean said, some of the stuff we'll be doing will be outside of here, because I'll try to get this done, but that's okay.
Hmm.
We want to get it to them. Be nice to write it the first of the year, February, March,
Mhm.
and get started on it, and by the summer months.
Carol, since you know Sean.
CL.
See it. Sorry. Since you know Sean, do you think you could call and see if there's something?
I will.
Okay.
This is not like him.
No. I noticed that.
I hope he's okay and that his parents are okay. So.
Okay.
Yeah, he's used to me.
It would be good to check, I'll just let